You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, Internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Hey, this is John Preston, Marine Combat Veteran and Pacific Records recording artist. Just reaching out to have you check out our new album, Battle Cry, Songs of America's Heroes, an album featuring phenomenal other combat veteran artists like Scott Brown of the Scooter Brown Band, Ryan Weaver, Rowdy Johnson, just an incredible mix of people. This is all veterans telling our stories and our lives, and we're giving 100% of our proceeds to the Valkyrie Initiative to help veterans and first responders integrate back into society. I myself have battled with post-traumatic stress for many years and lost my own brother, a Marine Corps veteran, to suicide. I ask that you step with us and make this happen. We are in pre-order right now and release on March 17th. Go to iTunes, go to Amazon, buy. We plan on making the charts and making it at a very high level, and your support right now makes a difference. This is the release of my new song, Superman Falls, which is actually about the loss of my own brother, which happened last year, and I would love for everyone to check it out, to listen, and hopefully it'll make a difference in many lives.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it. There to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Sometimes riders feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
Get your free inventor's information. Call 1-800-353-6490. That's 1-800-353-6490. Again, 1-800-353-6490.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, Internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
My name is Jessie. I'm a United States Special Forces widow. This gives me a unique perspective on the world around us. If you're willing to listen, I'll tell you how I see it, and I won't pull any punches. This is my POV, which stands for Point of View.
Alright, this is Jessie. How y'all doing out there today? You know I miss you when we're not talking. Oh, yes I do. Well, last night we got off because a lot of this was being heard in Syria. Now, I'm going to make a statement at the beginning of my show, and I'm sure there's a couple other announcements I'm forgetting. Like, don't forget to tune in to Robinson and Wright tonight at 11 p.m. But I'm going to tell you that these were the missiles heard around the world. Not just because of all the reaction you've seen. I believe this missile strike not only put Syria on notice, but North Korea and Iran on notice. And I'm going to back that up over the next time frame here, folks. I've got a lot of information. Boy, have I spent time doing my research. I've done some digging, talked to a few experts. I even called the Pentagon. Twice. Oh yeah, twice. While I didn't get an official audio clip, I did ask a rather humorous question. And this was to the Public Affairs Office, in other words, the people that deal with the media. Has your phone been ringing off the hook today? And the guy's like, you know it. So he phrased it a little differently, but that was the gist of what he had to say on that topic. Otherwise, I got referred to the official statement on the Department of Defense website, which I will read to you just momentarily. But like I said, now we're going to recap everything and we're going to talk about it. But first, I want you guys to remember this.
For anyone going through any type of personal battle, whether it's cancer, PTSD, depression, a personal challenge that they want to do. They want to go climb Mount Everest. You need to stay in the fight. And when I say that, I mean mentally. If you're not mentally in the fight, if you don't stay in the fight, you can't win.
Alright. Now, why did I play that audio clip? One, I had a cat bugging me. Yes, host kitty was trying to put his 2 cents in real live color and fur where I didn't want it. And reason 2, I think Trump is in this fight. I think he is very much in this fight. And I'd love to see him get Congress behind him and go further in some aspects. In other aspects, I don't want us involved in nation building. Now that's U.S. political stuff, and you know I rarely speak my mind on that topic on this show. But this issue intersects with the topics I cover every day, day in, day out. So, I decided to go outside the news reports that everybody's seen and pick a few brains they don't have access to. That of Special Forces operators. So I went to a very select and elite group. Yes, I did it, just for you guys. Well, plus I wanted to hear their take on everything. I usually do. And I'm going to read you some of their reactions. The first one was, well, that didn't take long. The next one was, Obama certainly isn't in charge anymore. Now, let's see how far this goes. Somebody else was wondering if Russia had aircraft parked at that airfield. So, now another one speculated that Russians, if they were smart, saw Trump's change of heart with the King of Jordan standing by his side, nodding with a slight smile, and bugged out. Another flyer who is over in the region, and I'm not giving you any of the names because I'm sorry, I would never betray my friend's confidence. But another flyer in the area said he got a 4-hour heads up to stay clear. Not sure how long Russia got. And there is rumor, and I've heard this on the media, on the mainstream, that an Iranian cargo flight headed into Damascus that almost had a head-on collision with a cruise missile. And these are comments, folks, you can't find out in the general John Q. public forums. Because these comments are from men and women and the spouses of the men and women that have their boots on the ground. Then one of them came back and said, this really has the risk of blowing way up, and Trump only started talking about regime change this afternoon, so we're going to Damascus if he follows through. Big boom. Big bad a boom. Then one of the flyer that's over in the region said the air deconfliction channel is down today. Guess Russia is going to pout for a while and we can stand down from beans and bullets flights. He runs the cargo flights into the area to resupply. But I thought that would be some interesting feedback you wouldn't hear anywhere. So, I always try and find the stuff you guys aren't going to find. Of course, I've got all the official statements. I've got some Democratic and Republican responses. As much as I hate playing these people, I've got some. I prefer to play the stuff you guys can't easily find, but that was few and far between today. And made scarcer by the fact that everybody who could have come on air was otherwise involved. So, let's start. Let me get my files up, and we're going to start with what we do know. Yes, there's what we know, and then there's what we're not totally sure of. So, I'm just looking for the right set of files to open because boy do I have a bunch of them. Alright, now that we got the files up, and no, there's no show prep today, my printer is down, in case you are wondering why you didn't hear the paper banging on the computer like it usually does. My printer is down for the count. But that doesn't stop the show. May throw a kink in it, but it doesn't stop it. Alright. We know, for a fact, that there were 59 cruise missiles launched into Syrian airspace last night. Yes, there were 59. We've seen that everywhere. You'd have to be living under a rock not to know that one. Now, What else do we know? We know Syria bombed its own people just a couple of days ago. And I'm going to take that as fact. While the UN's being selectively outraged, and I say selectively outraged because they're more upset over the airstrikes that we did than they are over the bombing of the Syrian people. And Nikki Haley, Ambassador Haley, did an excellent job making that point in today's Emergency Security Council meeting. And I will be playing some audio clips from her. Now, I do have Trump's audio from last night. And let's take a brief listen. Let me just get it pulled up. It's not pre-queued. Sorry, folks. I was chasing sources on this up until the last possible second before I came on the air. I'm going to let President Trump's statement from Mar-a-Lago last night play in its entirety for you. All right, it's 2.5 minutes. We're going to give the president and listen to this.
My fellow Americans, on Tuesday, Syrian dictator Bashar al-Assad launched a horrible chemical weapons attack on innocent civilians. Using a deadly nerve agent, Assad choked out the lives of helpless men, women, and children. It was a slow and brutal death for so many. Even beautiful babies were cruelly murdered in this very barbaric attack. No child of God should ever suffer such horror. Tonight I ordered a targeted military strike on the airfield in Syria from where the chemical attack was launched. It is in this vital national security interest of the United States to prevent and deter the spread and use of deadly chemical weapons. There can be no dispute that Syria used banned chemical weapons, violated its obligations under the Chemical Weapons Convention, and ignored the urging of the UN Security Council. Years of previous attempts at changing Assad's behavior have all failed, and failed very dramatically. As a result, the refugee crisis continues to deepen, and the region continues to destabilize, threatening the United States and its allies. Tonight I call on all civilized nations to join us in seeking to end the slaughter and bloodshed in Syria, and also to end terrorism of all kinds and all types. We ask for God's wisdom as we face the challenge of our very troubled world. We pray for the lives of the wounded and for the souls of those who have passed. And we hope that as long as America stands for justice, then peace and harmony will, in the end, prevail. Good night, and God bless America and the entire world. Thank you.
He didn't take questions. He made his point, and he was done. Now, other than what was said in that little 2.5 minutes, and there was quite a bit said there, there's a lot more we can talk about. So, first of all, let's back up to Aleppo. Well, the attack was in Idlib. Why am I talking about Aleppo? Do you remember what I said? And I don't have the audio queued up, but I'll have to do it for you one of these nights. The citizens of Aleppo were evacuated to Idlib. How's that for a thought process? He moved the rebels, the citizens, that he was barrel bombing and terrorizing from one location to another. All right, what else do we know? All right, we're going to take a little walk through time here. We know that President Obama had previously said that the use of chemical weapons would be a red line and would change his calculus. Well, I have it on pretty good authority that the response that happened last night was pretty much the same response Obama failed to act on after his red line. Now, he declared the red line on August 20th, 2012. August 21st, 2013, Assad used chemical weapons to where hundreds died. But he decided against it when Bashar al-Assad's government agreed to give up its chemical weapons. Now, who is supervising this? Russia. Who's friends with Russia? Iran. Where did these chemical weapons go? Were they really destroyed? We don't know. Then, of course, you have the fall of Mosul to Daesh. That wasn't a good thing. The fall of Mosul. That was June 10th, 2014. June 18th, 2014, Iraq goes, "Help, help, help!" Iraq says, U.S., come help us. Then, on June 29th, Daesh declared a caliphate. Yes. And remember, this caliphate was declared at the mosque, the Grand Mosque in Mosul. And of course, they tried a little rebranding, but it never stuck, especially with this host. Then you have October 7th, 2014, Obama authorizes airstrikes on Daesh. And of course, that's when we have the Mount Sinjar airdrops for supplies. Okay? Then September 5th, 2014, we call for a coalition against Daesh. Why am I going through all this? I want to make a point. Just bear with me. I know it's long. August 19th, James Foley was murdered. Then following that was September 2nd, 2014, Stephen Sotloff. And that's when Obama ordered 350 additional troops to Iraq. September 23rd, the U.S.-led coalition launched its first airstrikes against Daesh inside Syria. Kurdish fighters backed by U.S. firepower drove Daesh from the Syrian border town of Kobani in January of 2015. Now remember, we're almost 2 years past here. We're going to speed up a little bit. Sinjar was retaken in November of 2015. Palmyra was retaken in March of 2016. June 2017, Fallujah was declared liberated. Now, the U.S. military said, oops, in November of 2016, that they mistakenly killed dozens of Syrian-backed troops in September 17th in the eastern town of Dar al-Tsu. Dabiq was taken back. Now, if you remember, we've gone over the significance of Dabiq, and it's a pretty significant town. December of 2016, Syria declares victory in Aleppo after evacuating opposition fighters, and they were sent to Idlib. Now, we're going to fast forward. So, actually there's no need. May 17th, hundreds were killed in an airstrike in Mosul. Whether the U.S. is to blame or not is not relevant to this host, because Daesh put those civilians in harm's way. I hold Daesh responsible. April 4th, 2017. Dozens were killed in an apparent sarin gas attack. And as Trump said, it killed innocent men, women, and children. April 7th, 2017. I'm going to say April 6th, but take your pick. April 6th in Syria, April 7th here. Or April 6th here, April 7th there. The U.S. launched more than 50 Tomahawk cruise missiles. The number is actually 59. 58 hit their marks at a Syrian airbase in retaliation for suspected poison gas. All right, folks, we have hit the bottom of the hour. And your host needs to go take a brief commercial break. And I will see you on the other side. Just as a reminder, you can always find me on Jessies POV on Twitter.
You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Hey, this is John Preston, Marine combat veteran and Pacific Records recording artist. Just reaching out to have you check out our new album, Battle Cry, Songs of America's Heroes, an album featuring phenomenal other combat veteran artists like Scott Brown of the Scooter Brown Band, Ryan Weaver, Rowdy Johnson, just an incredible mix of people. This is all veterans telling our stories and our lives, and we're giving 100% of our proceeds to the Valkyrie Initiative to help veterans and first responders integrate back into society. I myself have battled with post-traumatic stress for many years and lost my own brother, a Marine Corps veteran, to suicide. I ask that you step with us and make this happen. We are in pre-order right now and release on March 17th. Go to iTunes, go to Amazon, buy. We plan on making the charts and making it at a very high level, and your support right now makes a difference. This is the release of my new song, Superman Falls, which is actually about the loss of my own brother, which happened last year, and I would love for everyone to check it out, to listen, and hopefully it'll make a difference in many lives.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687. 8687.
This is Slickery Trigger for Rebel Road Tactical. With proper care and feeding, your pistol will be ready when you need it, there to save your life. Shouldn't your gear be that good? Whether you need a holster for comfortable everyday carry or a tough-as-nails holster for your next training course, Rebel Road Tactical has what you need. Check us out on the web at rebelroadtactical.com.
Sometimes riders feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
To get your free inventor's information, call 1-800-353-6490. That's 1-800-353-6490. Again, 1-800-353-6490.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
All right, thank y'all for hanging in there with me over that commercial break. Yes, I have gotten some audio that where truer words have never been spoken. The Security Council can be a very interesting place to get audio from, and I don't use it as often as I probably could. But in this case, Nikki Haley, kudos. And I have not had time to clean it up as much as I would have liked. But we are going to run with parts of it. Let me just get it cleaned up to some degree. But she spoke out. Let me make sure I got the right audio clip.
Terrorized its own people.
Yep, that's it. Now, it's not a perfect clip, And we are going to interrupt her. So we're going to break it down a little bit and then do a little bit of interrupting. But it is well worth the listen. You know me. I try very hard not to waste your time. And then I will explain why. Why I believe these were the missiles heard round the world. Alright, let's start with Ambassador Haley to the United Nations.
Terrorized its own people. It has murdered hundreds of thousands and displaced millions. It has broken international law and violated numerous UN resolutions. It has committed criminal acts that shock the conscience of all humanity. The international community has repeatedly expressed its outrage. The Joint Investigative Mechanism has found beyond any doubt that the Syrian regime has used chemical weapons against its own people multiple times.
Yes, multiple times, folks. This means it was before Trump's presidency, which means Obama knew for a fact that chemical weapons were used during his tenure. And I'm not one to get into politics here, so I'm going to leave the statement at that. Now let's continue with Nikki Haley's comments.
On Tuesday, the Assad regime launched yet another chemical attack on civilians, murdering innocent men, women, and children in the most gruesome way. Assad did this because he thought he could get away with it. He thought he could get away with it because he knew Russia would have his back. That changed last night. As I warned on Wednesday, when the international community consistently fails in its duty to act collectively, there are times when states are compelled to take their own action. The indiscriminate use of chemical weapons against innocent civilians is one of those times.
All right, so Haley warned us. Boy, did she ever. She stood up in the Security Council and held up photos of some of the children. And we're talking 2- and 3-year-olds. And then sometimes infants that had to suffer the effects of sarin gas. Now, I want to diverge here and talk about sarin gas. Sarin gas is a chemical weapon. And that fact, that, folks, is a fact. Where did I get the information? The National Institute of Health. Sarin is an I'm going to read right off their website. Sarin is an organophosphorus ester compound that produces potent and irreversible inhibition of cholinesterase. It's toxic to the nervous system and is a chemical warfare agent. Sarin is colorless, an odorless liquid used in acting military used as a quick-acting military chemical nerve agent. Now, the website goes on to go into the chemical structure, which I'm not going to go into because I'd need Doc on here for that one. But it's quite the chemical compound. So, it is quite the interesting chemical compound. Now, I'm going to turn to another source, not quite as reliable as my last one. Sarin, or GB, G Series B, is colorless, odorless liquid used as a chemical weapon due to its extreme potency as a nerve agent. It is generally considered a weapon of mass production. Production and stockpiling of sarin was outlawed as of April 1997 by the Chemical Weapons Convention of 1993. Syria is a signatory to the Chemical Weapons Convention of 1993. So, this just tells you Assad is not a man whose word can be trusted. Let's go back to Ambassador Haley.
The United States will not stand by when chemical weapons are used. It is in our vital national security interest to prevent the spread and use of chemical weapons. Our military destroyed the airfield from which this week's chemical strike took place. We were fully justified in doing so. The moral stain of the Assad regime could no longer go unanswered. His crimes against humanity could no longer be met with empty words. It was time to say enough, but not only say it, it was time to act. Bashar al-Assad must never use chemical weapons again, ever.
Those are pretty powerful words for the floor of the Security Council at the UN. The UN is generally a place where words are taken extremely seriously. And Nikki Haley, in my opinion, you did an excellent job. Alright, let's go back to her statement because there's a little more I want you to hear.
Now, while the Syrian regime is responsible for the chemical weapons attack, it is not the only guilty party. The Iranian government bears a heavy responsibility. It has propped up and shielded Syria's brutal dictator for years. Iran continues to play a role in the bloodshed in Syria. The Russian government also bears considerable responsibility. Every time Assad has crossed the line of human decency, Russia has stood beside him. We had hoped the Security Council would move forward, but Russia made it known, as it has done 7 times before, that it would use its veto once again, covering up for the Assad regime. Further delay by compromising with Russia for a watered-down resolution would have only strengthened Assad. Strengthening Assad will only lead to more murders. We were not going to allow that.
Now, if you recall, Senator Kerry said that chemical weapons were taken out of Syria. What has the reaction? Now, obviously that is not true. Obviously, that is not true. Okay? That's obviously not true. And as far as Russia using these words, the Kremlin and Russian President Vladimir Putin believes that the U.S. strike is an aggression against a sovereign state in violation of international law. I have a one-word response: Crimea. Putin believes that the U.S. has dealt the strikes under far-fetched pretext. Earlier, Konstantin Khrushchev, head of the Russian Foreign Affairs Committee in the Kremlin-controlled Upper House of Parliament, said on his Facebook page that a U.S. anti-terror coalition has been put to rest without even being born. Now, Secretary of State Tillerson is supposed to be heading there. We don't know yet if that is, in fact, going to happen. So we're going to have to wait and see. Now, why do I say that this was the missiles heard round the world? Well, Trump's put out some pretty harsh language against North Korea. Warning, the U.S. could act alone. President Donald Trump has vowed to deliver an ultimatum to Chinese leader Xi Jinping to rein in North Korea when the two men meet face-to-face for the first time this week. So, we don't know what's going to happen. And Trump warned earlier this week, if China's not going to solve North Korea, we will. So we don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Trump isn't like Obama. He doesn't come out and say, on this date in 2 weeks, we're going to do X. He says that. He says nothing except, we're going to take care of this. I'm sorry, if I was Kim Jong-un, I'd be nervous. Now, Beijing has faced some increased pressure, Pyongyang has faced increased pressure from Beijing. Beijing has suspended imports of North Korean coal through the end of the year, which is a key source of revenue for Pyongyang. The Chinese, however, are very reluctant to exert economic pressure that would destabilize its isolated neighbor, and fears any effort might lead to a U.S.-allied unified Korea on its border. China wants the U.S. to negotiate directly with North Korea. I'm going to say, not going to happen. The U.S. ambassador to China, Winston Lord, under President Ronald Reagan, and top diplomat to the region under former President Bill Clinton, said he assumes Trump isn't bluffing this time. And then he also goes on to say that Trump is right. China is the problem on North Korea and has got to do more. So this is why I have to say this is going to be an interesting thing. And these were the missiles heard around the world. If I was Kim Jong-un, I'd be a bit nervous and I'd really have to think about whether my nuclear program was potentially worth my government, my country, and my life. Now, let's play devil's advocate for a minute. Russia says, Syria doesn't have chemical weapons, it's the rebels, it's the terrorists. Horse hockey. It is the government. And I don't know how else to explain it to you folks. That is the biggest stack of horse hockey. The anti-Assad rebels are more likely to fire do-it-yourself artillery than they are to be able to have a helicopter to drop barrel bombs or planes to drop chemical weapons. Sarin gas is not something you would see on the racks at Home Depot. And the rebels, even if they could produce it, would have a huge problem storing it. So, this is why your host, fully believes Bashar al-Assad's government is 100% at fault. And given Trump's harsh rhetoric against Kim Jong-un, I wouldn't be sleeping very soundly at night. I'd seriously be thinking, is this really worth it? Now, I do want to read the official Department of Defense statement. Here we go, folks. Because they talked about that going on in Syria last night. Here's the official statement. At the direction of the President, United States forces conducted a cruise missile strike against a Syrian airfield today at about 8:40 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. That would have been 4:40 a.m. April 7th in Syria. The strike targeted Sharat airfield in Homs Governorate and was in response to the Syrian government's chemical weapons attack April 4th in Khan Sakun. Khan Sakun's right outside of Idlib, folks, which killed or injured hundreds of innocent Syrian people, including women and children. The strike was conducted using Tomahawk land attack missiles launched from the destroyers USS Porter and USS Ross in the eastern Mediterranean Sea. A total of 59 Tomahawks, TALMS, targeted aircraft, hardened aircraft shelters, petroleum and logistical storage, ammunition supply bunkers, air defense systems, and radars. As always, the United States took extraordinary measures to avoid civilian casualties and comply with the law of armed conflict. Every precaution was taken to execute the strike with minimal risk to personnel at the airfield. The strike was a proportional response to Assad's heinous act. Jayat airfield was used to store chemical weapons and part of the Syrian Air Force. The U.S. intelligence community assesses that aircraft from Sharat conducted the chemical weapons attack on April 4th. The strike was intended to deter Assad from using chemical weapons again. Russian forces were notified in advance of the strike using the established deconfliction line. U.S. planners took precautions to minimize Russian or Syrian personnel located at the airfield. The initial assessment is that this airstrike has severely damaged or destroyed Syrian aircraft and support infrastructure and equipment at Al-Sharat airfield, reducing the Syrian government's ability to deliver chemical weapons. The use of chemical weapons against innocent people will not be tolerated. Now, the rest of the world has had varying reactions. Most of the usual suspects have come out on our side. Most of the usual suspects that don't like us have come out against us, folks. I'm not going to go through the whole world. Russia said we're wrong. Iran said we're wrong. North Korea hasn't responded publicly, but haven't seen a new propaganda video from them. So I've got a couple more audio clips. Here is Mitch McConnell.
Well, let me start with the second question. We're not looking backward right now. We're looking forward. We've got to be able to deal with the current situation. He is the commander-in-chief. He is the president of the United States. We need to know President Trump's policies for countering these atrocities and the challenges we have. I agree completely with Senator Rubio. It's not only against the humanity values of the world, it's against our national security interests. And what is the President of the United States suggesting? What is his policy? How can we make it clear that we will not tolerate that type of activity under a Trump presidency? That's what we're looking for.
All right, so he was in support of the strikes and said, no, this ain't the former administration, folks. We got to look forward. And I've got one more clip from Schumer, this is a statement he made on the floor.
I salute the professionalism and skill of our armed forces who took action last night. The people of Syria have suffered untold horrors and violence at the hands of Bashar al-Assad and his supporters in Tehran and in Putin's Russia. Making sure that Assad knows when he commits such despicable atrocities, he will pay a price is the right thing to do. It is now, however, incumbent on the Trump administration to come up with a coherent strategy and consult with Congress before implementing it.
What I take away from Schumer's comments is that, okay, you played your hand. You want to go further? You better talk to us. Now, I'm not one to hold politics here, but I'm just going to talk the Pentagon. There's supposed to be 150 administration appointees at the Pentagon. Last time I saw a head count, there was one. Mad Dog Mattis. Alright, folks, I gotta get out of here. Please don't forget to support Battlefield Cries. The link is on our website in the chat room. And as always, you can find me on Twitter at Jessies POV. I'm out of here!